My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Shaun of the Dead. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I remember the first time I ever watched this movie. It was May 2012, and I was in grade 9. And there was a school dance on May 4th, so my mom gave me a note to excuse me from the afternoon activities. But I decided to stick around for the dance and to have a good time. But I still kept the note. And on every Wednesday, my mom always went to Bible study, so the house was empty. So it just worked out perfectly for me where I could change the date on the note from May 4th to May 9th. And on May 9th, I gave the note to my principal. I was excused from the school. I walked home and I decided to watch Shaun of the Dead because I was never allowed to watch movies like this. And I loved it. This movie was one of my favorite comedies for such a long time. But is it still one of my favorites? No. I still like it. I think it's a good movie, but I have soured on it over time. So let's begin by talking about the cast. And Simon Pegg is fantastic here. He strikes that perfect balance. Well, yes, he's pathetic, but you're also kind of rooting for him, and he carries this movie incredibly well. He's funny, he's convincing, he really stands out here. Nick Frost also does a really good job. He's quite entertaining and funny, but I'll talk more about his character later on. Kate Ashfield plays Liz, and she's fine, I guess. She's not really the most memorable character. Dylan Moran and Lucy Davis both give perfectly fine performances. Penelope Welton is good, I guess. And Bill Nye does a pretty good job. So the cast is good, but Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are the obvious standouts. But the real star of this movie is Edgar Wright because his direction and his writing is just so good and they just come together perfectly. This is a man with a vision, and he has a very distinct style that allows him to stand out. I love the editing in this movie. There's a scene where Shaun is flipping through the channels, and each new channel is finishing off the sentence of the previous channel, and it's just a perfectly executed gag. And the movie is well shot. It sounds great. The practical effects look great. And I do like how the characters are clearly defined. You have an understanding of who everybody is. And the scene set to Don't Stop Me Now by Cream is a great moment. I also love the amount of setup and payoff in this movie. There's one scene very early on where Shaun is walking to the market, and he walks to the market again the next day, but the camera movements all feel the same, and there's just a lot of attention to detail. Shaun has a red pen that leaks in his pocket, and someone's like, "You've got red on you." Later, he kills a zombie and he gets blood on him, and someone's like, "You've got red on you." There's a scene early on where he throws flowers meant for his mom in the garbage, and later his mom finds them. There's just so much thought put into this movie, and it is very funny. Like, the opening scene is just so well written and perfectly executed. Well, Shaun and Liz are having a personal conversation, and it turns out it's not so personal, and Ed is playing a game and he keeps swearing, and it's just so good. It really is. There's also a scene where Shaun and Ed are trying to kill a zombie using records, but they have to be selective over which ones they pick. That's a great gag. They this group of survivors runs into another group of survivors, and it's like a mirror image. That was a quick amusing gag. The movie is very funny. It is. Lots of the humor has to do with how mundane this zombie apocalypse is, and how everything isn't like the movies, and that works for me. It really does. But I just don't think the movie sticks the landing. My big issue with the last act is that it feels 10 minutes too long. I feel like it could have been trimmed down just a bit. I also wish Shaun became more of a hero at the end. When he's willing to sacrifice himself to protect everyone he cares about, that is a great moment, and then he enters the Winchester and he catches the nuts and he comes across like a badass, and I love that moment. And he gets asked, "How did you lose them?" "Well, I give him the slip." And it turns out he didn't do a good job at it, and it's a funny joke, but at the same time, it kind of takes away from that moment. And then he has a gun and he's trying to shoot it, but he keeps missing. And yes, it's kind of funny, but I feel like the narrative suffered as a result. And Ed is just so annoying and so unlikable, and he so obviously drags Shaun down to the point where I find Shaun to be very frustrating, and I do wish this movie ended with Shaun picking Liz over Ed. And I don't think the final note of him playing games with Zombie Ed is a satisfying note to end this movie on. Oh, and also, David was totally right for trying to kill Barbara. Like, yes, he could have gone about it in a more sympathetic way, but he wasn't wrong. So I do like this movie. It's good. It's funny. It's clever. It's incredibly well directed and written for the most part. And the two leads do a great job. I just feel like the last act kind of drags the movie down just a bit. So I'm giving Shaun of the Dead a 7 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Shaun of the Dead? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.